In this video, we are going to focus on the checks on CYPEURBAN, how to add information and how to review information from the checks. Let's start fulfilling one of the checks. As we see here, we want to fulfill total maximum height depending on the adjacent buildings. We are still missing information and how we are going to add this information, adding information about height of the building. As we saw in the previous steps, we already imported the buildings and we have information about the number of floors and its height. We inputted this information before. We have the height of this adjacent building and the number of floors. So let's start creating a section to easily input the height. For that purpose, I go to the Display tab and I click Alt+4 to go on Plan Mode, and I will click on Create a View, a section, and I will create this section through this part. This is only for purposes of visualizing this check more easily, to have a view in which I can input this check really easy. So let's go now and click on checks. If I click on checks, height, I will introduce a height that I'm going to measure actually from this point to this point. Height 4. And I have the height here. Now I'm going to indicate which height I'm measuring. Total maximum height. Okay, I could add a comment. Of course, this comment will arrive to the municipality. Any comment that the architect writes in this check is going to arrive to the municipality. Then I click accept and I will have this maximum height for this building. Okay, so now if I go to checks, I will see that I'm fulfilling this check of maximum height. Why? Because this adjacent building, which has a total maximum height of 17.46, is higher than our building, which has a maximum height of 15.5. Let's see now another type of checks related with the heights. So as you see here, we have floor heights and free heights. And as you see, floor heights have been automatically detected from the BIM model. So for example, we can see that we don't fulfill with the ground floor height, which is in the project 3.40 and should be at least 3.50. But we are fulfilling with the height of the floors as well as the height of the ground level. As this information has been automatically read from the BIM model, the architect actually doesn't have to do anything. But for example, we are missing information about free heights. This information currently is input manually, and we are going to do so from the project planner floors. If I open this project panel, I will see that we have the number of floors above ground level, around below level, some extra information for some of the checks. And here I have the table for the elevations of each floor and the type of floor that is. For example, in this case, this has been automatically detected, but imagine that this floor is an attic. I could change this information from here. No, I can always change this information. What else I can do here? Adding free heights for these floors. For example, in this case, the net height, free height for this floor would be 2.40, and I click accept. I will have to do so for each of the floors. So I go through the third floor, 2.4. Okay, and this way I will be documenting the building. If I click accept, I see that for those two floors I'm fulfilling the check. I will do the same for the ground floor or mezzanine floor or semi-basement. One thing, for example, which is really interesting is that in this project I have floors, I have ground floors, but I don't have mezzanine floors. So how I say the program that I don't want to fulfill this check, that I don't need it because I don't have mezzanine floors? I will go to regulations, I will look for this check, so will be pre-haze of mezzanine floors. I know that I have to fulfill it, but I could say, okay, it's not applicable. I will add a modification, it's not applicable. I click accept, and I'm going to see that now that the icon has changed for a line and a justification is here. So if I double click on the check, this comment is what I have. I don't have mezzanine floors in my building, and this comment is going to arrive to the municipality. This is always really important, the comments of the checking. So to finalize with this part of checking, we are going to visualize the check of minimum net floor area of the rooms. This is a check that has been automatically made from a BIM model. And in this case, if you remember, when we imported the BIM model of Lisbon, we mapped the spaces from the model to the regulations. So now this check is fulfilled. I like to see this check in having the building in transparent. I think it's more visual in this way. So I put the building in transparent and I'm going to the first floor, and then I'm going to the check itself, minimum net floor area of the rooms. And as you see, if I go through the rooms, I will be able to see the area. So for example, in this case, the project has 16 square meters and 10.5 was requested for this area. Also, if I put the mouse inside this area, it's going to tell me the net floor area, the reference, and the type of room. Really simple to visualize. This same information will arrive to the municipality. Thanks for watching. In the next video, we are going to finalize the process and export the results to BIM Service Center.